The NBA playoffs have finally commenced and the first round of play has finished for all teams, and to say the least, it's been a little bit crazy. From the first seed being upset in the East to a Game 7 between the defending champs and a team that hasn't snuffed the playoffs in 17 years, all in all, it's just been wild. And that's not even mentioning the play-in where Rudy Gobert decided to absolutely clock his teammate in the face, even though Kyle Anderson would have beat his ass if Rudy Gobert didn't run away in the beginning. All I've got to say is that these playoffs so far have been interesting, and it's only been the first round. So that's enough introduction. Let's talk about it. Now, the NBA deadline was wild this year, with two of the biggest trades in deadline history occurring on the same deadline. And the biggest trades were from the same team, the Brooklyn Nets. The Brooklyn Nets traded away two of the best players to ever play for their franchise, and to be honest, the best players to ever play for the Brooklyn Nets, in Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant. And they had a positive record when they had them on the team, but after they dealt them at the deadline, they went negative. Mikal Bridges was the only thing that was good for them, and Nick Claxton, and a few other supporting roles where they were good as role players, but nothing more. You know, it's a whole lot of something going on there in Brooklyn. I don't know what, but I hope that they'll make it a little bit better than what I saw in this year's playoffs. But to be honest, it was expected from a team like the Brooklyn Nets to end up the way they did, you know? They had to go against Joel Embiid and James Harden. And to be honest, I have a lot of respect for Brooklyn, you know? They had one singular mindset going into it, and it was that they're not going to get beat by Joel Embiid. They're going to get by the other pieces on that team. And they got absolutely spanked by those other pieces. Holy shit, Tyrese Maxey was putting on a clinic. Now, to be honest, a sweep is a sweep at the end of the day. But on the bright side, if those games were to end at halftime, the Brooklyn Nets probably would have won that series. But unfortunately, basketball is in two quarters, and they got demolished in the second half every single time. But I don't want to talk about the series for too long. Let's be honest. No one really cares about this one. They got swept. That's all there is to it. On to the next. Now to talk about a way more interesting series out west, we got the Memphis Grizzlies and the Los Angeles Lakers. And this series had everything from drama to high scoring games to great defense to star players. This series was kind of fire. Now to preface this series, the Grizzlies were undermanned as Steven Adams was out and Ja Morant wasn't able to point his tip or whatever he talks about on Twitter because his wrist was broken or something, I don't know. Now, as a guy who doesn't lie, I didn't watch every game for this series. I watched the first three, and from what I saw in that series, it looked like the Grizzlies were just playing very unexperienced, even though they'd been in the postseason a few times, and LeBron was really just handing them that ass every single time on a silver platter. You know, when Dylan Brooks starts chirping and can't back it up and skips media, you know that the Grizzlies are going to be kind of cooked. Yeah, I don't know why he decided to open his mouth, because to be honest, he needs to pick up swimming, because he's going to be with the Sharks this season in Shanghai, China. Yeah, get ready, Dylan Brooks. You suck, buddy. You're not him. It's crazy how this dude says that LeBron need to drop 40 on him and, you know, he thinks he's the main character or something, and then says that the media paints him out to be a villain. You chirp after every series, get your shit packed, and still talk shit. You're trying so hard to be the villain. You might be a side. You're like Team Rocket in Pokemon. They just pack you up in a minute, and you keep coming back. Buddy, stay at home. Cancun needs you. Now, since when I talk about the Grizzlies, I troll a lot, I'm going to try to be positive here. Jaren Jackson was limiting AD. I'm not going to say he stopped him, but he definitely was slowing AD down, and I expect that out of a defensive player of the year like him. And Ja Morant was still eating, which I expect. It's just that the supporting cast, besides like Desmond Bane, didn't show up for most of the series, and LeBron took advantage, and he was just taking that to the hole, especially with that open layup. Nah, I'm kidding, that wasn't open. With a heavily contested layup over Jaren Jackson that he made to send it into OT. That was the deciding factor in the series. The Grizzlies win that game, and I could be talking about the Lakers right now, and I could be slandering them. But it didn't. LeBron made that layup, and he's the GOAT. Or MJ. I don't know. I'm not starting that debate right now. On to the next. Time to go out to another boring series out east, and we've got the Boston Celtics versus Atlanta Hawks. You know, the Atlanta Hawks stole a few games, even with, you know, DeJounte Murray getting rejected, getting sent out the game because he decided to bump into a referee. You know, they still fought, stole a few games. Let's be honest. We knew the Celtics were winning. Everyone did. And that's what happened at the end of the day. Because in Game 6, at the end, no one could inbound the ball. And then, like, actually, I'm not going to talk about the series at all besides this, just because it was pissing me off so much. I was honestly just going to skip past this until I watched the end of Game 6. How do you mess up inbounding the ball that much as a professional NBA player? Oh my god, they threw it to Marcus Smart's nuts like... I don't even know if it was Marcus Smart. They threw it off of someone so many times, they hit him in the nut. It was pissing me off. I'm skipping. I can't do this anymore. Learn how to inbound the ball, Atlanta. On to the next. Alright, and now to talk about my second favorite series of this year's playoffs, we got the Miami Heat and the Bucks, where the Heat upset them in 5 games. And you know, even though it was only a 5-game series, this series was much harder fought than what we saw. Jimmy Butler was, oh my, he's holding on for dear life every game, dropping some masterclass performances. I've never seen Jimmy like this. The only time I remember this was in like Game 7 last year of the Eastern Conference Finals when Jimmy was going absolutely ham. He played 48 minutes and then missed the game-winning shot over Al Horford. Man, Jimmy, every single playoffs, he just always surprises us in some crazy way. Now to address the 3 side things about this series. First one being Tyler Hero broke his hand. Tragic loss for the Heat. Honestly, I thought it was over after he went down, but then Giannis went down, and that's when we saw the spark light up in Jimmy's eyes, and he took over. Now to talk about the third thing in this series, which is a contributing factor, separate from the 2 injuries I talked about before, is the situation with Mike Budenholzer. Man, praying for him and his family. It's probably tougher than anyone can imagine to coach during a series when you have that on your mind. But yeah, my condolences go to him and his family. In totality, all you can say for the series is that Jimmy Butler and the Heats really just took care of business in the series, and they surprised everyone in the league. No one really expected them to win this. I mean, I'm sure a few Heat fans expected the upset because, you know, I don't watch a lot of Heat basketball. And from what I heard, they're really disappointing this year. But apparently they proved everyone wrong, which they usually do. Because as I'm recording this, they're up 1-0 on the Knicks. Anyways, I've been talking about this Heat Bucks series for way too long. Jimmy Butler is Michael Jordan's son. I want to see the DNA test, Jordan. Please bring that out anytime you can because holy shit, Jimmy is him. And yeah, GG's. On to the next. Okay, now speed run before we get on to my favorite series, which was everyone's favorite series, the Sacramento Kings and the Warriors. We're going to talk about the Nuggets and the Wolves. Let's get this caveman summary going. Nuggets, good, very good. Anthony Edwards, good, really good. Rest of Timberwolves, not so good. Ship them to Guantanamo Bay. Get Anthony Edwards some help. And I'm telling you, that help is not that French center. Oh my god, he's horrendous. And he's a cornball. Actually, I lied. One more speed round before we go. Clippers Suns. Kawhi, he needs to be healthy. Paul George, he needs to be healthy. Russell Westbrook was on a mission. He didn't complete the mission. Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, they completed the mission. Okay, time to talk about the Kings. I've been waiting for this. As many of you know, the Kings are my favorite team. So yeah, I was going to make a whole video just on this in the playoffs, but I don't know. I decided to just make a playoff video instead because I feel like a lot of people have already talked about the series, so let me just give my summary on it. I'm going to be talking about this series in particular for quite a while now, so yeah, buckle in. Game 1 really just took my passion for basketball to a whole new level. Like, I realized that teams in the NBA can win something and it means something. Like, it's just not a regular season win. You know, it's building towards something, towards a bigger goal. I haven't seen that in 17 years, and I was just astonished. I loved seeing it. De'Aaron Fox went crazy, and honestly, I expected this from him. You know, if he's a clutch performer in the regular season, he's obviously going to step it up during the playoffs, and he did that the whole entire series. Besides, like, the second half of the last game, he didn't step up too much. But what I want to really talk about is Sabonis and Draymond thinking they were in the UFC. Buddy, Draymond, you are not John Jones, my lord. Game 2 was crazy when I saw it. Draymond went from sitting on Sabonis in Game 1 to stomping on his chest. Now, I don't even really care who was in the right and who was in the wrong. Like, that was just a crazy thing to see. But anyways, like all things in Kings history, it ended in a tragedy as they lost in 7 games. When the world needed him most, Sabonis decided that he wasn't going to grab a fucking rebound. I don't think if he knows anymore, but in the playoffs, it's still the same rules. Like, when the other team misses a shot, you still have to grab the rebound after it hits the rim. You can't just, you know, get possession after they miss the shot. It's not how it works. It's not how the game's played. But yeah, I'm going to try to tweet that at him. If you guys could tweet it at him, say, Sabonis, grab the rebound. The possession doesn't end after they miss a shot. That'd be great, because I think he really needs that. Like, never in my life would I think the deciding factor in the Kings vs Warriors series would be Kevin Looney. Looney Tunes. And this dude was grabbing 20 rebounds a game over the rebounding leader, Sabonis. Like, you know, I knew Looney was a great rebounder, a great offensive rebounder, but I was like, Sabonis gonna pack that shit up. He's the rebounding leader. And then he just got shit on the whole series. I was crying. Real tears. Every single time Looney got an offensive rebound. Good lord. But to be honest, I'm not too upset from this series. Davion Mitchell was showing how great of a defender he was. You know, De'Aaron Fox was showing how great of a player he can be when he's attacking the rim, you know, when he's hitting his shots and all that. And then Keegan Murray was going crazy. Malik Monk was showing he might be one of the best spark plugs in the league, if not the best spark plug in the league off the bench. You know, a lot of good things from the series. You took the defending champs to 7 when they were at their best. You know, the whole season, they honestly deserve to be a higher seed. It's going to show that the Warriors upset at the 6th seed, but they deserve to be a higher seed. They were without Wiggins, and they got GP2 at the deadline. It was a great series. What can I say? We took the defending champs to 7, and they lost in Game 7. It happens. We'll be back next year. Now with that, it concludes every series. Oh, fuck, I'm forgetting one, aren't I? Knicks Cavs. I'm not going to lie. I watched like 2 games from this series. I watched the first game. It was a really close game. The Knicks pulled away. And then I didn't watch the second game, or the third game, or the fourth game, or the 5th game. All I know is that Donovan Mitchell is going off, and Darius Garland is getting ready to speak some Cantonese next summer because he's not going to be on that team anymore. I heard he really underperformed. But I'm going to be honest. I didn't watch a lot of Cavs or Knicks basketball this whole season. So I'm speaking out my ass right now. Yeah. I can admit it. I'm not like these other NBA YouTubers who say they watched every single game and they know everything about these teams. I have no idea. All I know is the Knicks won. Now with all of that being said, this NBA playoffs has been special and spectacular, and I'm ready to watch some more basketball.